Hello, and welcome to Coach's Corner. Today we have volleyball player Miss Autumn Dowell. How you doing today, Miss Autumn?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So one of the questions I have for you is, how do you feel about the shortened season between spring 2021 and fall 2021?
I think it was really difficult, but it was also enjoyable, I feel like, because we didn't play as many games, so our bodies had more rest. And it was just straight conference, really. So I enjoyed that versus a full season.
All right. And how is your relationship with Coach Tyler? What do you think of a coach? How does that go for you?
I think she's a really good coach. She's hard. Some people don't like that. But for me, I like a coach that will, get into me when I need to. And yeah, I would say she's special to me because she really did help me up when I was down because I had quit previously. I wasn't playing at a school. And then she's the one that welcomed me in here.
All right. So have you played any other positions other than the position that you play now, or is the position you play now the only position that you mainly play?
I play middle sometimes, and that's really it, just middle and right side.
All right. So you said that you was a junior, about to become a senior.
Mm.
So how have you seen, you've had your fair share of time that you've been with the team. So how has the team improved over the time that you've been here, and how have you seen the improvements from the players around you?
I've only been here for 3 seasons. So the first season I came, it was the spring, and we were really good, I thought. The seniors really led us, and I really thought we had a lot of potential. Last season was a little rough, but coming into the spring, I think we have the talent that we need, and from what I'm hearing, we're going to have a lot of good players coming in this fall.
So you said a lot of good players coming in. So I heard this season, you guys have played in a lot of tough, difficult, close sets. So how, as you as a player and others of your teammates, were able to handle that pressure dealing with these close sets?
You just have to relax and just push every point. We do little games to 5. So first to 5, then first to 10, then first to 15. So it makes the game go by a lot faster, and you don't have to just aim for 25 all the time.
All right. So you said that at one point you weren't playing for school anymore. So, and you said Coach Tyler brought you into PV. So what really, besides Coach Tyler, what enticed you to come to PV?
I still really wanted to play volleyball, and there was just an opportunity here for me. Yeah, it was just a few months that I wasn't playing, but I really still love the game, and I was passionate about it.
Okay. So, have scrimmages begun already I think you guys are in the off season right now, so have you guys been scrimmaging other teams, or is it just mainly within PV?
We've been scrimmaging the men's team because we currently only have about 9 players, so we can't scrimmage each other. So we've been scrimmaging the men's club team about every week.
That's good. So, with the SWAC, I'm sorry for that, FAMU and Bethune-Cookman were able to come into the SWAC, adding more competition to every sport that we have in the SWAC. So I don't know if you guys were able to play FAMU or Bethune-Cookman, or if you have. So how does that added level of competition help, or is it a disadvantage coming into the SWAC? How do you guys feel the competition coming up?
I mean, FAMU is really good. I think it does raise the competition a little bit, and just having to win more games to just even get to the SWAC tournament is a bit of a challenge now. But I welcome them. I don't see anything wrong with them joining.
I see it. So coming in with this, how does the team stay motivated throughout the game, throughout the season? There might be times where, difficult as a student athlete, you have to deal with academics as well as getting ready for games and practicing and everything. So how do you guys able to handle everything that is thrown at you while still becoming the student athlete that you are?
You really just have to relate to each other. We all go through the same thing on the team. And so to know that you can fall back on one of your teammates is nice to know, because we all go through the same thing.
All right. So on the team, have you seen anyone that has really taken that leadership role? You're saying some seniors are leaving and you have new people coming in. So do you see anyone that you think is going to be able to be a really good leader for the team coming up?
I would say us 3 seniors, myself, Jakarta Hope, and Skylar Childs.
Okay. And what can you give for just the incoming freshmen, people that are on your team, or even people that's watching? What kind of advice would you give them coming into this collegiate sport of volleyball, that if they're not sure like what's going on, or if they're not sure how it is, because it is different from high school, from college, like how would you go by telling them?
I would say just expect the unexpected, because it's really nothing like anything anyone has ever done. It's not like club or high school. It's really a job. So once you come in and you look at it like it's a job, you'll expect all the things that come with that. It definitely is a grind. Like every single day you have practice or weights or school. So just be prepared for that. That's what I would say.
All right. So going in, volleyball is one sport that, like, what we could say, kind of like golf, or one of those sports that's not really, I guess, prevalent like that. People don't really watch it as much. Most of the times when we think of volleyball, it is Olympics or just small little things like that. So how do you see volleyball has grown and getting more, I guess, more relevance, like people are seeing it more? Like, how do you see that actually improving?
I don't know if it's like a American professional team, but there's this thing called Athletes Unlimited, and it's like women that are on, like, I guess, professional teams, and they were at like Power 5 D1s, and they play volleyball, and they just like come together, and now they're like on a team. But I think it's separate from like overseas professional and Olympics. I think they can still do that as well. But I think it's really cool that we have something here in America that
Right.
people have the opportunity to do.
So what led you to play volleyball? Like, who was your motivation to continue to play volleyball?
Honestly, the lack of support that I had kind of motivated me. It was kind of a struggle when I started playing. I was on B team in 7th grade, and prior to that, I never played any sports. And I had a coach in middle school that kind of like put me down and like mocked me and stuff. So after that, I just knew I really liked playing, even if I wasn't good. So I just kept pushing forward, and then I started playing club, and I just got better over time.
All right. And you saying it's good. It's funny because sometimes people that try to bring you down is really your motivation to bring you up.
Yeah.
And to really go forward with that. So after this past season that has come, and now you're into the off season, what things can you see the team needs to improve to be ready for the next season coming up?
I can't really see anything right now. I feel like we come in and work hard every day. It has been harder because there's less of us. I feel like our chemistry is already there. We have 2 new girls, and they just fit right in. So I feel like everything has been pretty good this spring.
All right. So you're saying with Coach Tyler, she really helps motivate you guys to be better students, be better athletes, really just get entwined with everything. So with that student part of the game, like, how do you manage to still handle the academic side of being a student athlete?
For me, I'm always like in competition with myself, so I try to push myself when it comes to school. I may not try as hard sometimes, but like I still try to get like an A in something. It is hard to balance it, especially when you're on the road and you have to do assignments or a project or anything. But it's very manageable, I feel.
Okay, that's good. So do they, and this is probably a question that a lot of people have, for student athletes, do they have, not require, but almost like help with tutoring and try to help you really get your academics straight in order?
Yeah. For like freshmen and transfers, they have to do study hall. And if your GPA is under a certain amount, then you have to do study hall too. And there's people that are in there that will help you. And then it actually really helps just because like you're forced to do your homework, even when you might not want to.
All right. So it's funny how you mentioned scrimmage in the men's volleyball team. So I know that's kind of like a back and forth. You guys are kind of chirping at each other, what's going on. So how is that, being able to scrimmage the men's and really get the support from both men and women's volleyball to really support each other, to scrimmage each other, to help you guys get better for the next coming season?
At first, I didn't know what to expect, but I think they really do challenge us, especially this last time they played really good. And there are some adjustments, you know, like the net isn't the same height for men as it is for women. So we'll play on a women's net, and they'll sometimes be like over us when they jump. But it's just, it makes us work harder, I guess. Yeah. So if like they're jumping really high, we have to time the block right, or our defense has to be really low the whole time. So it still challenges us. So I think we're getting better from that.
That's good. So you know, the challenging aspect of getting it from the men. You talk about FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. So can you compare the SWAC? Have you guys played any out-of-conference teams?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you compare the SWAC teams compared to these out-of-conference teams?
If I could compare the SWAC to one conference, I would compare it to the Southland. I feel like that competitive level is still there. And there are some schools in the SWAC that are just like, when we're playing them, we just know, like they're not gonna be that good. But we still have to come in and like be on top. And it's kind of the same with some of the Southland schools. Like our first PWI win was against UIW. And I feel like that was a good competition for us. And even when we play Lamar, like I enjoy playing them too.
Okay. When we come back, we'll discuss more with Ms. McDowell about volleyball, as well as more things going on with school. When we come back after the break.
All have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at shecanstem.com.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
STEM is precise.
Hello, and welcome back with Coach's Corner. So, Miss Autumn, one of the questions that we were discussing over the commercial break was the difference between scoring and getting scored on. So, in volleyball, I know when they hitting the ball, especially when they come up to spike it, they kind of hitting it kind of hard. So, how does it feel when you score on another team versus how the team scores on you?
I think the best feeling is when they score on you and then you score right back. Because it's kind of like just in their face, especially with a block. Like, I feel like blocking is like the most hype thing you can do in the game. So if you just get blocked and then you have the mentality like, I'm going to block them because of what they just did to me, it just makes it more fun.
All right. So for those that's watching that might not know much about volleyball, what can you tell them that will help them understand the game more?
Fundamentals is very important. I coached 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds before, and it's really just basic things. So like your platform when you pass and having really strong hands when you set, and just how to do your footwork on your approach. Like all those things are really important, so when you get older you can tie it all back together.
All right. So I have watched volleyball before, and I believe you can only hit the ball 2 times before you actually hit it over. Is that true, or is it like a certain number of times you have to hit it? Because every time I see it, it seems like they got to hit 3 times and that's it. If it's over 3, then it's...
Yeah, it's 3 times. So
Okay.
It's like, it's just pass, set, hit, and then like say you hit it into the block, you can get it back, because then that's their touch. So sometimes it might get confusing for people that don't understand the game. But yeah, so if the other team ever touches the ball, we get to restart, if that makes sense.
All right.
3 touches.
So how do you go, with that being said, if you go with the 3 hits, you can only hit 3 times, how do you go by playing sets? Like, is there certain plays that you guys might say, like, we're going to pass it this way and make her think that it's going to go this way? Like, how do you guys go by that?
Really, a lot of that is in the setter's hands, but the pass is really important. So if we're like in serve receive, we need a perfect pass so we can run our offense. But yeah, we'll run plays mostly with our middle. So whatever our middle wants to run, will revolve around that, all the other hitters.
So do you got, now there has been a time where I did watch volleyball, and it seemed that after every time someone scored, everyone switched. So like there was a part where there'd be a setter at one point, now you're in the middle. So how does that go with, because you guys have to know really every position for y'all to be able to switch. So how do you go by teaching those that might not, maybe someone that hasn't played your position, like how does that go by teaching them the position they're gonna play and just getting them to know the whole positions?
So the easiest way to know where you're at on the court is knowing who you're opposite from all the time. So like if I'm right side, I'm gonna be opposite from the setter. So she'll be back row and then I'll be front row. Or like a middle blocker will be opposite from the libero. So wherever they're at, you should be there, if that makes sense.
All right. And so how do you guys go about games? Like, is it how long would the season normally be? Do you guys play, I guess you can say, like, you know how basketball, it's like this day, it might play on Monday, then Wednesday, then maybe Thursday, and then take a break, then play Saturday. So how do the games for volleyball go?
It's about the same, especially this past season. We did go to FAMU, and we had like a kind of a tournament. So we played 2 SWAC teams in one day, and then the next day we played 1. So we had like a lot of games like that. And volleyball isn't, I guess, as intense as football, and the games are quick. Like you're always rotating. It's 25 in less than an hour. You're probably done. So yeah, just.
Yeah. So what can you say has been your favorite experience as a volleyball player for PV?
Actually, I guess it's my favorite, but it's actually like the saddest part. When we lost against UAPB in the spring of 2021, I thought that was like just the end of an era, but I like reflected a lot at that time. But I was also really sad. But it was still like, I don't know. It made me really appreciate the love I have for the game.
Right. You know, sometimes those losses do really motivate you to get better.
Yeah.
So, is there maybe a volleyball player that you look up, like who is your hero? I could say.
I mean, I had a few. Ever since I started playing, I would say Destiny Hooker was my favorite. She played at UT, and then she played for the U.S. I'm not sure what she's doing now. She's a bit older.
Right.
But in college, I still have people that I like look up to. I'm like, oh, they're really good. Like Logan Eggleston, she plays for Texas too. I think she's really good. And I'm really into college volleyball. Like when I'm not playing, I like to watch other people play.
All right. So with that being said, do you see yourself sometime maybe playing overseas or for the Olympics, or how do you see yourself going for volleyball?
I never thought it was like a realistic goal, because usually the bigger schools, like girls that play at bigger schools, they'll go and play overseas because they get the contracts. So I really never thought that far ahead. I never really thought I would get a contract to go play. So
it's funny that you say that. We talk here a lot about how HBCUs and a lot of players that, whether it's in the SWAC or the MEAC, don't get as much recognition, and only now, you know, with the draft of Amisha Williams-Holiday going into the WNBA, that was the first time an HBCU player was drafted since 2002. Yeah. So it's something that a lot of, like you said, the bigger schools that you would normally think of PWIs, they get the contract. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel that players at HBCUs and smaller schools don't get the recognition they need, or like, because we have talent. It's not to go to say that we don't have talent, but it just seems like it's overshadowed and overlooked when it comes to the PWI. So how does that make you feel as a HBCU student as well as HBCU player in the SWAC going up against that? I try not to really look at it like that. I understand there's a lot of people that don't come to HBCUs because of like money, or they are looked down on, and I'm not really sure why. I guess exposure. But I feel like her getting drafted really opened the doors. And even like football, I don't know
the last person that got drafted to the NFL in the SWAC.
He was I forgot his name, but he was an O-lineman for Alabama State. He was drafted in the first round, I think in the 2019, one around those drafts.
I still feel like it should be more.
Right.
And even like back in the day, like there's like Hall of Famers in the NFL that went to an HBCU. And like I do wish that would pick up more. I think it is a little bit. There were 2 sisters, they were twins, and they were committed to A&M, then they decommitted and committed to Howard. So like people are changing a little bit, but it's still that thing like money, or I'm not going to be able to go out of here and play professionally.
All right. So with that, volleyball, sometimes people can heckle. You know, it's still a game. You know, you have parents and friends and fans that, you know, just want to keep that sportsmanship. So how do you guys deal with heckling, whether that is good, bad, between yourselves, between the other team, between the fans, if you're coming off the court and they're trying to chirp at you? Like, how do you guys deal with that adversity?
Usually if it's another team and they're doing that to us, we'll just do it back to them. And I actually like that because I feel like that's what sports is about. That you can be competitive and you can talk trash to the other team. But when it comes to like parents or fans or anything, we try to like stray away from that. But the players, yeah.
All right, so players is free game, everybody else is restricted. I feel that. So traveling, like you said, it's not, you guys are not as intense as football, but you guys travel like your basketball.
Yeah.
So how does the traveling affect you guys when it comes to just school or just your everyday lives? You know, that's a lot of traveling, a lot of time and energy that you're giving up. So how does that feel doing all of that?
It is tiring, I'm not gonna lie. Especially when there's times where we'll just get done playing a game and then we have a game the next day in another state. So after that game, we'll just get on the road and then drive to another state, and the next day we'll play. Like that is kind of a lot. Or even when we come back and we get back at PV at like 4 or 5 in the morning, like that's still. And
then get up, go to class next day. Yeah. So that's, I remember them days. I used to play community college, and that was still traveling and practice and to do all that. It was just a lot of stuff that used to go on and stuff. So, you know, you guys traveling a lot. You still have classes and everything that's going on. Have there ever been times where you might have played teams that maybe were in college but were not in the United States, or out of, because you know you said volleyball is one of those overseas sports that they play a lot. So has there ever been a moment where you've been at a tournament and you might have played a team from England or France or anything that just came out here that was another university as well, and just to compete in a tournament?
Not a university, but when we were in club and you go to like bigger tournaments, there's a lot of international teams that are there, and their style of volleyball is just way different. So it would be interesting if we could play an international team just because of how different it is, but we haven't had the opportunity. So
with that, with you saying that, how would you compare American volleyball to overseas international volleyball?
When I watch it, I feel like they are aggressive. We're aggressive here too, but sometimes like their sets are higher, I've noticed. I feel like they're, I guess I can't like say all that. Like, I don't know. I guess they're about the same, but maybe the level is higher. Like they start younger. So if you see like a Mexican team, there might be some 16-year-olds on that team.
All right.
So they start young and they're more competitive at a younger age, I guess.
All right. So I know you say you haven't played any other sports, but besides volleyball, is there any sport that maybe piques your interest that you might watch or have thought about playing at one point?
I did run track when I was younger. I would do high jump again because I used to do that, and people think that it's dumb, but I do think it's similar to volleyball in a way because of the footwork, and like the jump is kind of the same as like a slide footwork. And I don't know, I just think I like watching that too. And it might be boring to some people, but I like watching track.
You know, that's one of like sports like baseball, people always think is boring, but if you're playing it, it's fun. Watching it is kind of, I get where you're coming from with that. So With my last question would have to be, coming into PV, about to be a senior, what is the next step for you? Whether that's volleyball, whether that's with your major, like, because this is a big step, about to get ready to graduate and really go out there into the world. So how do you see yourself preparing for that, as well as getting ready for your last senior year?
I think you can't really prepare for it. You just kind of get thrown into it. Because I have an internship this summer for a class that I have to do, and I've never done anything like that before. So I'll be busy all summer, and then right after that I have volleyball, and then still school, and it's just kind of like you're preparing for life, but you're not really. If that makes sense.
Not really there yet.
Yeah. You're forced to grow up.
Right.
And when it comes to volleyball, though, like I want everyone to just come in with the mentality that we're gonna win SWAC, or at least get closer than we have been the past couple of years.
All right. So the goal is just to get better every year, and then hopefully make it to that SWAC championship, bring home the champion. Well, thank you, Miss Dowell, for coming in and speaking with me. You know, we just want to be able to get you guys in here more, and we're very grateful for you and Coach Tyler to come out here and just give us more of a volleyball experience and give your side of stories to a lot of things that's going on, so we can keep you in tune and that we can keep supporting you and to make sure you guys go out there and win the SWAC this year.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, that'll be all for today for Coach's Corner. I'm Drew Brewer, and be sure to make sure you're here every day at 3 p.m. Once again, I'm Drew Brewer, and thank you for watching.